In today's video, I'm going to take you through Death's Abyss. This is part of a series for geared players. Now, even if you're not geared, it's likely that you're going to end up being in a situation where this is the route that you're taking, especially if you're going through random matchmaking, as geared players have figured out the most optimal way to go through these dungeons. One thing to take note of is the enchanted Archeum Arbiters. When he says, "I'll wipe you all," he is going to do a mechanic that does a lot of damage. You can see I have 15,000 health in this video just to show you how much damage he actually does. In order to avoid taking that damage, what you need to do is stun that target when he says, "I'll wipe you all." It's usually the tank that's expected to stun that target. However, if the tank is on cooldown during that time or in another area, it's not a bad idea to have a stun on your bar. Now, the tank is in my party. Big shout out to Glizzy from my guild, and he is going to take the optimal path in order to run this dungeon. However, we are playing with 4 randoms, so there are some times where people are pulling the wrong enemies into the area. So this run is pretty much what you can expect from a decent run with randoms. Most of the time, you're going to find that you are hugging one side or another side of a wall. So just follow along with your tank if it looks like they know what they're doing, and continue to go through this dungeon. There are a lot of mobs that can just totally be avoided when running through here, so follow along with the path that I show in this video to save the maximum amount of time when going through this dungeon. When you get to this room, you'll notice there's actually a healer in the back. If you are having trouble or struggling with DPS, you want to focus on that healer while your tank holds aggro with the Arbiter and keeps him stunned. If you're not having any issues with your DPS, you can just burn through everything in this room. If you follow the proper pathing, this is about the only place in this dungeon where you'll actually have to deal with or worry about a healer. As you can see, we are hugging the left side of the wall here. We did end up pulling the Arbiter, and we just ran back, stunned him, and then took him out very quickly. But you can skip the Arbiter in this room depending on where he's walking and where people actually run. So if you hug the left-hand side here as closely as you can skip almost every mob in that room. Following on to the next room, there is an Arbiter in here. Depending on where he's standing, you can pull him early like we did, or you can simply pull him to the mini boss at the end of this room. The 2 sets of mobs on both sides can be totally avoided. Depending on your gear, this mini boss doesn't have a whole lot of mechanics to worry about. Keep them stunned as much as possible and just burn through their health. Watch for the purple or black pools that appear on the floor. Get out of those so that you don't take damage from them. We did end up pulling some aggro from the mobs on the side of the room. We did go back and kill them. However, I believe you can just run away from these mobs and they will not continue to have aggro through all the corridors that you have to go through. This is another spot where there happens to be a healer, so if you aggro them, you do have to deal with them if you are also attacking the boss at that time, as the healer will continue to heal that mini boss if you have aggro with them. Now we're going to come up to a gate, and that gate is going to allow you to go left or right. You can see one person already went left and another person went right. It's good to stealth through one of these areas, and then everybody else goes to the other area. There is a lever on the floor of each of these rooms that needs to be interacted with to allow you to continue through this dungeon. Usually one person can go to the other side, get that lever, and only attract the aggro of one mob. That mob will follow you all the way back to the other room. However, if you happen to be a dagger player and you have a stealth ability, you can simply go into that room, interact with the lever, then use your stealth to get back out. The Elite Archeum Riot Squad Captain is the last mini-boss that you're going to need to face before facing Karnix himself. With this mini-boss, if you're not burning through his HP fast enough, he will go through a mechanic where he gets a shield. The shield will initially be blue and then turn to red. When that shield turns to red, you need to make sure you hard CC him. If you miss the hard CC while his shield is red, you will end up dealing with a white mechanic. Now it's time to fight Karnix himself. There are only a couple of mechanics that you have to worry about in this fight. It's not very hard, especially with geared players at this point in time, but I'll go through the mechanics again. He does the exact same pattern all the time. It does not change. So after he does a few attacks, he's going to summon some spinning scythes. In the first round of the spinning scythes, you could see skulls above two people's heads. I happen to have one. These scythes are going to chase those two people. After that, you'll see one person get marked with a large black circle. You want to stack on that large black circle and get ready to block a fury attack. 5 people need to stand inside this circle. Anyone standing outside of that circle can get feared. Additionally, if there are not 5 people standing inside of that circle, everyone will take increased damage. While the spinning scythes are there, he's going to teleport to the farthest player. That player should turn him away from any other players so that his attack doesn't hit multiple players. He will teleport twice to the farthest players from his location, and the key is for that player to turn the attack away from all the other players. Anytime you see him disappear, he is going to be teleporting to the player that is farthest away from him at that point in time. You want to make sure, if you're that player, that you try your best to get him spun around so that his cone of damage doesn't actually hit all the players in the party. Additionally, it's a good idea not to stack up behind the tank because he will do that cone attack towards the tank on a regular basis. We didn't allow him to go into a second round of mechanics during this video. However, if he does a second round of mechanics, it's the exact same mechanics with just more players being marked. So when he does the scythe, he marks more players with the skulls and sends out more scythes to attack them. I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. Don't forget to whack the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content. And if you don't want to be out of whack, there's another video on the screen right now that you can click to support more of my content.